Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV. Sorry about that, y'all. Had a little bit of a malfunction. How y'all doing? Another week has passed. Hopefully had another stress-free week as possible. Episode 220, The World's Tour. Shout out to Dre, Devin, Regina. How y'all doing? A lot going on the last 2 weeks. As always, we're going to get to it. We lost some people. And this online fighting is getting to a boiling point, I think. Seeing people call for violence. Hold on, y'all. Let me make sure this is good. How y'all been? Hold on, let me... All right. We're going to go into some stuff. Yeah. Shout out to Devin. How you doing? Yeah, the live should be up now. Should be working. Is it good? I was about to continue drawing. I used to draw. I used to be into art heavy a few years ago. It was once a passion of mine. Now that you mention, I might try to dip back in my artistic side a little bit. Hold on, y'all. Here we go. Another Saturday is here. We're gonna go right into it. Hold on. Sorry about this. All right. Gonna get right into it. What the? All right, whatever. Anyway, let's get right into it. Let's move on. Let's get it. All right, we're gonna start with this here. We're gonna start with this. We're gonna start with the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson, a civil rights icon, dead at 84. Obviously, rest in peace to Jesse Jackson, one of the pillars of the civil rights movement. One of the founder of Operation Push, or that Rainbow Coalition. People, he's one of those passings that come along, and it's a lot of mixed reactions to his passing. But I think when people like this pass away, we need to understand circumstances. Some people from back in the days, they did things with good intent, with pure hearts. And maybe they did things you disagree with in the future. Just because someone introduced something that maybe didn't benefit in the long run as much as is expected, at least, we have to keep weighing intent versus outcome. Some people are genuine. Jesse Jackson, two-time presidential candidate, 84 and 88. And let's not ignore the fact that it was a very successful campaign, whose campaign pretty much ended because he stood on blackness. He was somebody that let it be known what he stood for when it came to black people, and even his critique of other countries. We're gonna get into that later. His standing with Palestinians, regardless if you agree with it or not. But in those situations where he had a lot of conflict, he was willing to stand with people like Farrakhan and not completely denounce him when the powers that be wanted him to. He was somebody that was strong-headed, at least. And as I said, he was a pillar. We can, go through all the things we disagree with him, but when somebody like this passed, I think it's best to just acknowledge what they did, stick to what we think their intent was, and let things be what they are. So rest in peace to Reverend Jesse Jackson. Because I've seen all the people, mentioning all the controversies around him, with his, the affair that he was a part of and the child he had out of wedlock in the 2000s. I've seen people bringing up, the, when it came to the civil rights thing, the critique a lot of people brought in was, did the Rainbow Coalition politics strengthen Black America? As far as what the politics is right now, we would say no way. What the way things are talked about now, the way politics have shifted in this country in the last decade, it's definitely seen as something that was, at least now, a negative. And like I said, it did more to dilute lineage-specific advocacy, which has grown the last decade, which we know it's not viable anymore. Coalition politics are not a viable thing anymore. Maybe it never was. As people always say, and now, hold your own nuts. Like I said, from this affair, the stolen aid that he was accused of, people started calling him more corporate, the way he was raising funds and stuff. And obviously the big kahuna, people considering that he was a part of the death of Martin Luther King Jr. I won't say much on it. I'll let it go. Like I say, he's gone now. He'll be judged by his high power. It is what it is. So as I said, as a final, rest in peace to Reverend Jesse Jackson. I will say too, moving on, it's also very symbolic almost that his passing is kind of shown that there's a movement away from those type of politics in general. Like it's like a bygone era, and it's like we're moving to something totally different. So everything of those yesteryears is now either falling away or outright, dying. So anyway, quick update on this right here. I want to hold on. Let me show something right quick. I wanted to show this right here. I'm gonna run through this right here. Hold on.
Poor, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be uneducated, but I am somebody. I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
You know what's funny? It's unfortunate, but this scene as a kid growing up was this speech is ruined for me because every time I hear this, I can't help but think of Booty Call, the movie with Jamie Foxx. They really bastardized that shit. Let me play this one too. Let me just run through some clips right quick of Jesse Jackson. Hold on.
Presidential nominee Barack Obama. On Sunday, Jackson had just completed an interview with the Fox News channel and made the following comment, he says, in reaction to a recent Obama speech on the morals and responsibilities of African American men.
It's crazy how a lot of these former civil rights activists behind closed doors, we see these quotes and clips coming out over years that a lot of them didn't really like him. He was able to get in strictly off of the whole I'm black thing. And they were unwilling to step in the way of that because that's just it was a tsunami in 2008. You couldn't not support him. Only a few people were brave enough to I say brave, but able to come out and acknowledge their lack of support for him, and it didn't work out for most of them, at least. A lot of coon words were thrown around. Mark says Jesse wasn't lying about Obama. No, sir. What up, Mark? I seen people making AI art saying that Martin Luther King was gonna put hands on him and stuff. A lot going on, and I want to moving on to the next one. I want to say this right quick as a quick one. Rest in peace to Art Kathy. I did not know about this. Apparently this was last month. I don't know if y'all know her or not. She was someone who was on YouTube. I found out about her years ago and her travels to the Gambia. And she had a lot of spirited rants about what's going on in Africa and stuff. And I did not know she passed away. I would want to say a rest in peace to our Kathy as well. And an update. Apparently there's been an update to his story. Last time I spoke about this, we all said the same thing. Hopefully he's able to move along and start his own thing and use his brand for himself, build himself up. A lot of people saying he's too old. Now he put this up, and there's speculation about between the owner and him now.
Hey, this is official Mr. Tendernism coming to y'all. I just got off the freeway kind of late at night, but I want to know y'all come on my page. Official Mr. Tendernism, Walter Johnson. Yes, sir. Y'all come on down now. I'm the Tendernism original. Not nobody else. The original Tendernism. Booyah.
Now, I saw this, and immediately people online, Craig said, Kathy, no, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know, man. I didn't know either. I was shocked when I saw it. Apparently, she passed away from cancer, but yeah, I didn't know. Rest in peace to her. What up, Mark? Well, when I saw this clip of Mr. Tendernism, I saw people saying that he got fired. And I want to say this. It's hard to really prove any of these things. You see people say stuff. You go to these pages, proof and confirmations, and it never really happens. I think a lot of the internet just simply wants him to leave this dude, leave the business in general, because they just don't like how it looks. I heard people saying he got fired. I heard people saying that the name Mr. Tendernism was copyrighted, and apparently he don't have ownership over it no more. Maybe he copyrighted it. I keep seeing different points on this. Just because you don't like something, don't mean it's gonna change, man. If he's still there and he wants to be there, it is what it is. As I said when we talked about this last time, when you look at the history of apparently how things went, he chose to be in that situation. I said hopefully he leaves and start his own food truck or something and uses branding for himself, but we don't know. Mark says some TikTokers page said that they are making a GoFundMe to give him his own restaurant. Hopefully they do. Hopefully that's something that'll be real positive. Hopefully not only just help him get the restaurant, support it. That'll be even better. Even if you don't give him that, whatever he decides to do when it comes to this, like I said, if you start something on his own, just support it if you want to. That'll be just as good as giving him the money for it in the restaurant in general. But yeah, like I said, he said he was happy with it. Now it looks like he's moving on his own way. That's good. That's great. But I also want to show this because this woman made a good comparison to that situation. Let me show this video here.
Destination Smokehouse.
This is a comparison between Dora Charles, the woman who was behind Paula Deen's recipes all those years. And we found out that after all those years, it was her recipes and that she was living on a trailer. She was living in a trailer on Paula Deen's land, apparently. And she was just okay with that. Let me play this right quick.
The reason why this whole Destination Smokehouse tendernism situation doesn't surprise me is because it's the same thing that happened with Paula Deen and Dora Charles. So Dora Charles worked with Paula Deen for like 22 years, alongside her, not under her, alongside her as a chef in the kitchen. And Paula Deen promised this woman, if I get rich, I'm taking you with me. If I get to the top, we both get to the top. But in exchange, Paula Deen wanted this woman's recipes, and she gave it to her. Gave Paula Deen all of her recipes, taught her how to cook and everything. Paula Deen ended up writing cookbooks using this woman's recipes. She ended up getting Food Network deals with this woman's recipe. And guess how much this woman made while she was working in Paula Deen's kitchen? $10 an hour. $10 an hour. And then she didn't even sue Paula Deen. Paula Deen got sued, but it wasn't by her. It was by somebody else who sued Paula Deen for hostile work environment and racism because she heard Paula Deen over talking, saying that she wanted black chefs and black waitresses to cater like a wedding or a party she was having for one of her kids or whatever, and she wanted them to dress like slaves. But it just goes to show that people from that decade, people from that time, they lived differently. They don't question like superiority, especially when it comes to somebody who was white. And Tendernism, aka he's not the person to question it. Like, I bet you right now he doesn't see anything wrong with the situation.
Yeah, I see Mark said, you know what they say about us, we're too trusting. Exactly. I think it also comes down to the same thing I said earlier about Jesse Jackson. Sometimes you got people that fight for more. And I saw Lamont Hill use the quote by Jesse Jackson where he said, I have the burden of still being alive, the burden of still being here. When Martin Luther King died or was assassinated, when Malcolm X was assassinated, they were damn near deified for them fighting for what we seem to be for black people. And so it made it easy to support them and not pay attention to some of their flaws maybe. But when someone still stays, the critique becomes easier. And the same thing happens with just the regular black man and black woman. Sometimes when you used to just get more than you always had, you don't argue for more. Dora Charles, hey, I'm making probably more than I ever had. My recipes are being pushed to the world. I feel successful. They start to feel successful. They start to live vicariously through the white people that's quote unquote using them. If they're successful, I'm successful. I have more than I had, so I'm good. It's an unfortunate mindset to have.
He doesn't see anything wrong with it. He doesn't see.
That's why you always say, know your worth. When you're building somebody else, make sure you build yourself too.
That there is a power imbalance. He doesn't understand that because to him, it's not clicking. We see it because we grew up in a different time. We've educated ourselves and we're more self-aware. But people like him and people like Dora Charles, who never sued Paula Deen, who still to this day will say and kind of admit that Paula really didn't do nothing to her. The only reason she spoke about it is because it came out. They don't see any wrong in what happened. They don't see they were treated wrong. They don't see it, and they probably never will. The reason why
I don't think we need to treat these people like toddlers, like they didn't know or they don't understand they were being quote unquote treated badly. I think it's more so that was kind of their expectation of any relationship with those people. Like they didn't expect more. They didn't expect this person to quote unquote do right by them or see them as an equal. So it is what it is. Shout out to Mr. Tendernism and Ms. Dora. Hopefully she's all right. Next up. Oh man, for years, me and Travis went back and forth on this very debate. What's culture versus what's just not? What's a part of it and what's not? What's considered appropriate and what's not? And in particular, it was the bonnets and do-rags. So then this right here popped up on my timeline. Let me show this. Disney's newest black superhero, Captain Durag. I have a lot of thoughts about this. And most of it would be a look at black people in general and how we view certain things that are considered a part of the things we do, but how they look at it with a low brow when it's made mainstream. We talk about, back in the day when you made sure you presented yourself a certain way. And so you wanted to be very careful with how you allowed black people to be represented in media because things stick to us, especially when there's a negative thing attached to it. When you talk about the bonnet and all this stuff, that stuff was attached to, housewear. So when you wore it outside, it was seen as you were lazy. You didn't dress like that in public unless you didn't have nothing. You had nothing to look forward to. It's like a person who walks slow. They tell you, a person who walks slow ain't got nowhere to go. They have no plans for the day. That's why they walking so slow. A person got something to do that day. They moving. You moving. You're not wasting time dragging your feet. They said the same thing about, mothers who wake up and take their kids to school with bonnets on, or men who walk around with do-rags on throughout the middle of the day. It's like, well, you didn't come from work like that. So it's represented as like a lazy part of wear. Craig said, what the fuck? Dre says, oh yeah, I've seen it on Twitter. That mug, wow. Well, see, that's the thing. There's two sides to this. And I don't think it's all the way negative. But we're gonna get into it now. Let me show this. Disney, the channel the company, I'm sorry, who in recent years have been making all of the wrong decisions with how they produce their movies. Their live actions have been horrible. They've been tanking their fan base with the established properties. And whenever you turn around, they're coming out with a new character that seems to put the internet ablaze. This time they released a new superhero character in a kids show that has caused massive backlash within the community. The character is named Captain Durag. Mark says the villain Dr. Press and Curl. For some context, the character was created in the show by the name of Hey AJ, a show for children by Martellus Bennett. Martellus Bennett is the dude who played for Seattle Seahawks, I think, which was also based on a book of the same name. The show featured a number of black characters and stars a black family. This is not the issue. The issue is the character they introduced in the latest episode of the show. The newest episode came out in February 16th on Disney Plus and introduced the character Captain Durag. Yes, that is his name. Captain Durag is a black superhero in this world. And it's in Black History Month. So let me play
Really,
a clip.
AJ? You're supposed to be cleaning your room right now. We agreed that you could only watch all the Captain Durag movies if your room was clean. And it's far from clean.
Come on, Mom. I can clean my room after. There's a new Captain Durag sequel coming out on Friday, and we need to watch all his movies before we see it. Let's just watch them instead. As a family.
Oh, so cute. I mean, puppy eyes ain't gonna work this time.
So that's the show.
It's Camille.
Now, Captain Durag is in the show. Let me say this. The biggest theme around this whole backlash against this is, stereotype Jamaican superhero called curry chicken. Yeah. I think I got that. I might have grabbed that up. I think somebody made something similar to that. I don't know. We'll get to that. So it was like, is this a stereotype or is this a cultural celebration? If black people wrote this, does that make this okay? Martellus Bennett is the dude who was in Seattle. He was another person who got into the activism thing around the Kaepernick era, and I feel like nobody really took him serious. I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't. I think people kind of dismissed him a little bit. I think, and I said it before, some of these things that we put in front of the screen like this, and the backlash typically comes from black people, it might be a little bit of cultural shame. Or is it some level of cultural self-defense? You don't want this to be too much of a mainstream thing and to be seen as normal or attached to us, not attached to anything directly. For instance, when you think of a Hispanic cartoon, you're probably going to think of something like Lucha Libre or something, which is about wrestling. So even though the characters are Mexican, it's about an actual culture within, a subculture within that ethnicity. So you got, just think about wrestling and how important that is to their culture, and they celebrate it, and they dress up in all the clothing and all the other stuff. Would you see something like this if it was called, Captain Sombrero or Yamka? Like, would that be just a piece of clothing or headwear being painted in a broad way to represent black people? Because we've seen our culture be criminalized, mocked, sold back to us. So maybe this isn't, maybe it's not embarrassing to some people. Maybe just a memory, know how this goes or whatever. So then you ask the question, well, if this isn't a good representation, what is? What is a positive representation? And keep in mind, this is for kids. So what really is the backlash from a 6-year-old kid seeing Captain Durag? I've been defending this type of stuff for the longest. Some things that are considered deep, non-mainstream, we tend to not want it to be on screen. I said the same thing about a couple years ago. There was like a baby doll or something that came out. And it was very black baby doll. Not just how it looked, like the name, the aesthetics of it was very black. And I've seen people saying that it was mocking. And it's like, well, if something is what comes from sold, is it automatically a mocking? Are you ashamed of what it looks like when it's being sold? Or I don't understand. Mark said, in Living Color did a skit, The Adventures of Handyman. It was a comedic skit, not to be taken seriously. Yeah, so this is a cartoon for kids. I don't think this is supposed to be the standard for a black kid to, worship do-rags. I see right here, is corporate blackness branding different from community storytelling? As Mark just brought up, when we do it in a certain context, we know what it's supposed to represent versus when corporate get a hold of it. Even though it's written by a black man, it just has a different light to it, I guess. If it is ours, do-rag, then why do we treat it like low class when it gets spotlighted? Why is it seen as a negative? When you see when anything like sports, rap, or certain slings are put in certain commercials or cartoons, it's seen as automatically, that means they're, is it because we don't see that as quote unquote black culture, but just being hood? Then the question, is it a class thing? Is the reaction tied to respectability politics? Is it about wanting to look prestigious rather than an everyday item? Comfort? Is it reflecting some level of stigma that we carry around for working class versus good black? Sexy Red, for instance, her entire existence pissed people off. So I don't know. I want to show this too, because along with that getting backlash, one of the creators associated with it decided to make herself known, and it went real bad for her. Let me see what she was a part of the creation of this. Let me play. I got her name, Camille Corbett. All right, let me play this.
Here, I'm a writer on Hey AJ, and I'm the creator of Durag Man. I know it's Black History Month. Let's take a deep breath together and let's release ourselves from the shackles of respectability politics. Come on, guys. We finally have a superhero with our culture. Let's not talk about semantics and let's.
I mean, there's already blank, man. You already got black superheroes that existed, that were created by black people, that's not associated with Disney or Marvel or nothing. We already have that.
Let's just focus on what's happening. If you've seen the show, you know the bunnies in every episode. Slime City is funny. Come on, guys. Let's get into it. Where's the joy? Why is everything so serious? We gotta celebrate our people. What Richard Wright would have wanted. He wouldn't want us to be like, let's just be respectable all the time and talk in stilted.
Exactly. Meteor Man as well.
Language. Let's enjoy our culture. I created Durag Man because I'm obsessed with blaxploitation films and I love Pam Grier, and I thought it would be super cool.
That's a whole other controversial thing. Support or the complete disregard for blaxploitation. So that creates a whole other thing that happens.
To have a little homage to that when we're creating a superhero for Hey AJ. And what was better than using a do-rag? Because I own a 6-foot do-rag, and it makes me feel like that in AJ's imagination. I really beg of you to give this show a chance.
So you get the point, right? She came out, she's the one who created the character, apparently. So regardless of what you think of the character, like I said, it could be the skepticism is because of corporate framing, fear of commodification, symbols that get extracted from lived experiences and flattened into caricature. I'm reading this right here. Symbols get extracted from lived experiences and flattened into a caricature. Empowering versus gimmicky. Like I said, Captain Yamka or Captain Sombrero, would that even exist? Mark says, this should have been a children's book and no more than that. I think the character she created was Martellus Bennett. He wrote the book. She added a character to the show. Now, when we get to know who she is, it makes way more sense. Let's jump right into who she is. She said, the fact that I created a horror film about how African Americans consider other black people beneath them, and so many people tried to gaslight me and say they view Jamaicans as equals in black. Anyway, stream my movie, The Island. So with all the whatever for kids. People started going through her social media, found out that she's not Black American, that she's Jamaican, even though she says her father is from North Carolina and that he was a sharecropper. But she clearly identifies with her Jamaican side. She didn't. She went to the UK with. She felt more comfortable around them. She said even in Jamaica itself, she didn't feel comfortable because obviously, the whole trope that you hear the bi-ethnic or biracial people use, which is two this for that people and two that for this people type thing. So this movie that she created that she's talking about right here is a movie about is a movie where she sacrificed Black Americans to save the island. It's basically, from what I understand, like a critique on tourism, Black American tourism. Let me make sure I got it. Hold on, y'all. I'm pretty sure I saved this. She doubled down too on this. All right, hold on. I'm gonna have to look here. Hold on, y'all. Sorry. Give me a little. Hold on. Oh, this is what. Hold on. I think this is what you were talking about with Tariq Nasheed, where he has the Jamaican. Hold on. All right, here we go. I got it. Let me play this. The plot of the movie is about Black American tourists being sacrificed to so the island of Jamaica can heal with writing straight from Twitter. Making the short about sacrificing Black Americans so other groups can thrive is interesting, which is what I said Pan-Africanism is. The ultimate goal for Pan-Africanism, true Pan-Africanism, is the destruction of America, which lead to Black Americans must be sacrificed. But anyway, let me play this.
Did you see the sacrifice I gave you today? The island's already healing from the gift. No, there's more where that came from.
So in this, her movie that she made where she's sacrificing these people to the movie is not about Jamaican, Asians, or Indians, white people. It's Black Americans. The whole thing.
Resort. There's not a killer in sight.
Not one. Why don't you tell that to the tourists in the Dominican Republic?
This isn't the DR. We don't have black-on-black crime here.
Isn't everybody black here?
I'm proud.
Proud. Okay, welcome to the party. So then tell me, what's the point of your job if there's no crime on this island?
No worries. I'm more than happy to interview my employees for their alibis.
Thanks, Martisha. That would be excellent. However, nobody from this entire island murderers, and right now, you are all suspects.
Now, you know that's some corrupt Caribbean bullshit. Yep. All three of y'all know that is some corrupt Caribbean bullshit.
How can we possibly be suspects when we have alibis?
You are all each other's alibis, which is why you're all suspects. Who is to say Zora didn't murder her father as soon as she see him and then come running to you guys?
Get the point. Yeah, so she had a little bit of a back and forth. People ain't feeling it, trying to call her out. The fact that she got this type of content, by the way, and she got some other stuff that people called out for that's not really important, who she's dating, all the other stuff. They trying to get the woman off of her Disney show, do. I type of things once again on social media. Everything has been called. My personal opinion, I think the sensitivity to things like this character, though it's understandable, I think it's a little bit overblown sometimes, considering this is for kids. But I get it. Let me show this right here. This is what Tariq had put up. Let me show this.
Hey, Captain Curry, there's an ice truck coming. What are we gonna do?
Bomber Claude, we need to get out of here right away, man.
AI been doing a killing on this shit. Niggas stay with the AI now. We'll say, to be honest with you, something like that, if that same woman, Jamaican woman, was to make a film or cartoon dedicated to that very thing, Curry Man or Rasta Man or whatever, they probably wouldn't be too happy about it either. So it is what it is. I got a video here of a dude saying that they stole the character or whatever, but I don't know if that even matters. Taking credit for a character that nobody likes is probably not what you want to do. We can move on from that. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. Gene Simmons says hip hop music long. Not really much to go into it. These people been saying. I will say this though. Saying you should change the name from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to just the music. Maybe that'll make it easier for these people. Hold on. All right, we back. Yeah, Gene Simmons, this statement we've seen this for years. People saying stuff like this. Probably should just change the name, maybe. Let me get to this. Let me show it. The Kiss frontman slammed the institution for including rap and hip hop artists. I didn't come from the ghetto. It doesn't speak my language. Rock and roll shouldn't speak your language either because you didn't come from where it was created. Gene Simmons says legendary rap and hip hop artists don't have a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Kiss frontman tried to make case for excluding certain artists from rock's biggest honor during the podcast interview with legends and leaders. The fact that, for instance, Iron Maiden is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when they can sell out stadiums and Grandmaster Flash is, right? He said in the interview, first posted that last week, Ice Cube and I had a back and forth about this. He's a bright guy and I respect that what he's done. It's not my music. I didn't come from the ghetto. It doesn't speak my language. As always, what you get from this is just audacity. Just the audacity of these people to speak this way, ignoring history and all, but it's not a surprise. It's not surprising. Because I have, do I have it right here? I have a clip of him acknowledging, hold on, the history. Hold on. Do I have this? But he's on interviews saying how he was inspired by people like Chuck and those other people. How, radio stations back in the day, during his time at least, was one of the few things that wasn't segregated because you can always change the station to what you want to listen to. And how he acknowledged all the inspiration he got from listening to this black music station from these black artists who were doing rock and roll, and then now to be saying that it's not your language and you're not from the ghetto, you don't understand it, is, like I said, it's not a surprise. These people get into these genres that were invented in Americas, and then they have the audacity to claim it as their own and try to exclude you from something that people from your demographic created. So Not a surprise. Ain't even got to go deep on. I do want to show this though, 'cause I did not know this part right here. Somebody showed this. I did not know about this. That Kiss's the aesthetics of their group, they actually got from Patti LaBelle and her group. I did not know this, honestly. See here, yes, the pioneering funk rock trio LaBelle, consisting of Patti LaBelle, Nana, and Sarah, significantly influenced protect visual styles, costumes, and theatrical stage presence in the early 1970s. In this article right here, he actually says it directly. That here's an idea how it looked. Patti LaBelle and them, and this is Kiss. Which is funny because in the 80s, it was, well, especially during the 80s, but always through the 80s, there was a thing where people were saying a lot of the dudes was dressing very metrosexual. You know, men wearing makeup and heels and leather clothing and stuff. So, but you know, he could do all that stuff and get inspired by the music and the clothing of Black American artists, and then say, you know, this should be excluded. Even though in this particular quote he was speaking about hip hop, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame isn't just for rock and roll. But anyway, let me. As much as they always try to acknowledge the origins, somehow they still try to exclude it. And another question, last question on this I'll ask. After all these years, is hip hop still supposed to be fighting for some level of legitimacy, or because that sounds straight out of the 80s what he just said. We in 2026, and I get it. He didn't listen to it, don't care, but there's no way. You know who Ice Cube is. And things are a lot and more global than even then. So it's just a typical white man being a white man. Anyway. Let me go to this now. Friday actor Clifton Powell says he didn't learn how to love until his 60s. Cave dwellers, exactly. Not much need to be said. When you see who said it, it's like, yeah, whatever, man. Clifton Powell, known for Friday, said he learned how to love at 69 during a roundtable on accountability, growth, and relationships. So let me play the clip that people were talking about.
Go ahead. The one thing that I just want to talk about in Luke, make sure I say the name right, crop this part out. Okay. What Luke brought up was like accountability. Like, yes, we can talk about, you know, what our families did to us, all this, all that, but eventually, and I know why people try and say this, and I really don't like that, but eventually comes a point where you have to decide, how do I want to live my life? I haven't talked to my daddy in 6 years. I don't give a fuck about what my family has gone through. I know where I will go. So it's like, you know, you can only say that for so long. Black women are tired, and, you know, kind of like putting onto them like, hey, like, you didn't do this entirely, because everybody in here, several people have talked about, like, you know, going to counseling. Have that upon yourself. Stop waiting for a woman to tell you what you need to do. Take that upon yourself.
Let me address that real quickly. For me, I didn't know fucking how to love.
Can I say one more thing? No, I have to say this, because another thing that happens is, too, you live your life for so long, and I'm not meaning no disrespect by this.
It's all right, just say it, bro.
But when you hit your 60s and your 70s, I want to be right.
Okay, but let me.
I want to live my life right. I want someone to take care of me and protect me, and that's what a lot of women have issues with.
Because I'm living it right the fuck now.
As I said, I said 60s and 70s.
Let me say this.
Don't overtalk me.
I'm gonna fucking overtalk you because you're talking out of line.
But you're not gonna disrespect me.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about.
I am.
I just learned how to love at 60.
I do.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about.
Oh, I do.
You can't.
I do.
You don't know it, nigga.
I do.
As you can see, this didn't go very far, at least in this clip. I know there's a full episode where they said things calm down, but I'm going to get into this clip in particular. We're going to say if there's a surprise regarding Clifton Powell, it would be his admission of that which is not so common amongst his generation of men. I agree.
I'm good. You don't know what the fuck you do. Fuck out of here. I'm living. You can't tell me what the fuck I'm living, nigga. I'm living it right now. You cannot fix no shit that you don't even know is happening.
I think there's a misunderstanding.
No, but he's generalized. You can't. Listen, bro. Let me stop. This is what it is. Let's get to the truth of this shit. You can't fix no shit unless you meet somebody who is on another level to help you elevate to understand. I'm not indicting anybody. I'm telling you what the shit is. You can't fix some shit that you don't know about, bro. Yeah. You can't. And then you get there at 69 or 70 and say, I thought I was being loving all this time. That's what our parents have gone through, and that's why we all so fucked up right now.
You asked, how do we love black women? Yeah. That's right here. Trust black women and listen to black women because they know more than we do what it is that they need.
I don't think that's true either. There's a lot of black women who don't know how to love.
I'm not talking about what they know how to love. I'm saying what they need as far as the reproduction.
I get that.
That's what we're talking about right now. Also, if we're going to use our privilege and power as men in society, how do we show up and be accountable? Like you said, the way to be accountable is to dismantle patriarchy, because patriarchy makes it so that men have the power and women do not.
But you can't get there.
A lot went on in this clip. I think a lot of it was a lot of people talking around and through each other. Craig says they have a queen at the table. Lord. Mark says all of us Black Americans need counseling. All right, this is where I'm going to go with it. I'll start with these round tables are like, what are we doing? We still doing these round tables discussing how to love. Like, I don't think we understand. Maybe we do. Like, it got to be, do you know how toxic it has to be to have yearly, monthly roundtables on how to love each other? That is sad. So this man who's 68, 69 years old is saying that he just now learned how to love. It's like we're having the same convos. And look, relationships, obviously. I know I'm not married. So I can only, as far as marriage, I can only go based off of the people I'm around, people I love, family, friends, and stuff. So you always hear them say it's not easy. It's things you got to do day to day and all the other things people say. But a lot of it is simply commitment. And commitment means respect and dignity, and that's love. Some of this is just treat people the way you want to be treated. No offense. And I see people making the argument. I see Craig says patriarchy. Oh my God. The guy talking to him out of line. And that's just how I grew up in North Carolina. You just don't do what he did to an elder. Like, it don't matter your respect you do or don't have for them. You must show some level of decorum where you don't yell over and try to talk over an elder. And I think a lot of that came from Clifton Powell is that personality all the time. Like the characters he play in movies, the loud, aggressive person, that's who he is in real life. So I think when he heard him get loud, he assumed that he was being aggressive when no, he's just an expressive personality. That's just his personality. He wasn't angry. I see people saying that he crashed out. He didn't get angry. He was frustrated that you talking over me. I'm telling you, I am what you're talking about. I'm actually going through it. What are you talking about? Then you have, the people bringing up the patriarchy stuff, and some of these dudes I don't even know if these dudes at the table are black. So I don't know what the hell going on with that, but it gets down to, when people are talking about this, the two sides, the black trauma and its impact on the black families and all this other stuff, And then people talking about was that dude's reaction daddy issues? No, he mentioned I ain't talking to my dad in 6 years, or was that him attempting to check what he considers to be an old fool, right? His coming to the defense of black women and you need to listen. I'm gonna check you, old man, or was he looking for a viral moment? I don't know. I'll say this. Let me read Regina first. He said, hub and I celebrated 39 years on 2/15. Congratulations. I did see the post on Instagram. And yep, treat your person like you want to be treated. And I realize that happiness is an inside job. Love you first, then you can love someone else. And that's the same thing. And I know this is a terrible name to bring up in this type of conversation. That's exactly what Will Smith said when he was talking about him and his wife. He said, I can't make you love me. You have to want to love me. I can't make you happy. You have to want to be happy, and you have to choose to be happy with me. So it's never the other person's job to make you happy. You have to want to be happy. And also, as you said, a lot of these people just do kind of wild stuff. And I'm gonna get to Clifton Powell in a second, but I'm gonna try to go through this in order of the reactions people had. People immediately checked the young dude for talking over the older man. Agreed. Shouldn't have did that. People immediately mentioned his sexuality. That's probably a part of something there, that why he's not talking to his father, maybe. And then people were talking about the round table. Who are these people even? Why does this exist? These same combos over and over. And then the same, and I'm sorry to say that the same, starting to become a BS thing popping up, is generational emotional neglect under discussed in the Black community. And I said no. Every single sit down, round table, movie, podcast episode, YouTube, whatever, people bring up slavery and how it impacts the dynamics of the Black family. People bring up Jim Crow, the financial, locking out people out of the economy, how that we talk all the time about structural things that led to, negative things that attack our community. And as I got to be honest, at some point, if it's talked about enough, it needs to be addressed. As he said, accountability versus historical trauma. There has to be a balance to how you look at this. As Regina has a successful marriage for 39 years. I know family members that been married for, 30, 40 years. I know family members who are not in what you consider positive marriages. Unfortunately, we most of us probably know marriages that lasted way longer than it probably should have because they were toxic. They shouldn't have been together. But back in the day, there was a certain level of commitment that doesn't exist now. I'm not standing something that is not exactly perfect for me. I know people that stayed in marriages that everybody probably assumed they were gonna get a divorce, and they didn't. They died together, and people move on. I'm not saying that's a thing you want, obviously. My point is, commitment is the love. Sometimes people think liking and loving is not the same thing. Sometimes you go through up and downs. It is what it is. Virginia says, I'm an Aries and Hub is a Pisces. Just imagine the bi-directional disrespect. But love is a verb, and we just continue to choose each other. Ride or die. Exactly. So, along with the historical trauma stuff that people bring up, and as Mark brought up earlier, people needing counseling, I got to say this to Mr. Clifton Powell. I'm sorry. I got to be honest about this point right here. Clifton Powell acknowledged years ago, or at least I saw an article this year, or last year, ended last year, should I say, where he got a divorce from his ex-wife. He got a divorce. He had to give up $10 million. I think it was in an interview with Art of Dialogue. Yeah, he did an interview with Art of Dialogue where he explained what led to the ending of his marriage. I think his marriage ended in the early 2000s or something. Maybe it was recent. I'm sorry I didn't exactly look up the divorce date. But he said the reason why it didn't work is because of these things. And Negro, you know damn well that running around cheating, gambling your money away, never being home is not a proper way to act with a family. Like I'm assuming you don't need counseling to know that much. You chose to indulge in your vices rather than being committed to your family. So that's a real, just being honest part. And he's admitted to this. So that's why in this back and forth with this dude, it didn't really make sense because Clifton Powell has taken accountability for what he did in the past. He's not saying everything he did was because of some trauma. He acknowledged that he just did some BS. But that is a part of his story. So when you see these videos like this, these round tables where they talk about these things, like I always say, to me, this is my opinion, it's really going nowhere and it comes off as just content. It's just content people are making for the very thing that people are doing right now, which is talking about it, making posts about it, doing think pieces. Personally, I think this stuff is pointless because sitting at a table with other men, whether it be their sexuality is different, some of them not even black, and trying to tell this man how to love a black woman, I'm pretty sure he knows how. The point he should be trying to get to is why he hasn't. That's the counseling part. Why did you choose to marry this woman if you know you wasn't going to be committed to her? What did you see with your parents or your people in your past to commit to somebody? He knows what to do. He just chose not to do it. Let me see. Do I got anything else on this? And I also want to say, because when people see these type of things, they see it as an attempt at a hit piece on black men and their character. If you need to have a round table talking to black men on how to love black women, you're saying that they don't love these women. Are you saying that it's so bad that someone needs to tell them of camera how bad it is? And that leads into this right here. Because sometimes being corrected is not about shitting on people's character, but we got a lot of people that's been scarred by past forms of media that have done just that. There's a new movie coming out called Is God Is. From what I read about the description, it's a story about two sisters that get revenge on their father who burned them as kids. That's a very simple explanation for the description of the movie. And immediately people in the comment section, particularly black men, reacted to this movie saying, "Oh Lord, demonizing black men again." So let me play a little bit of the trailer. Fast forward a little bit, hold on. Hold on. Where's it at? Show it in the trailer? Oh, here you go. It's funny because I love this dude as an actor. I love him as an actor. He's in that movie, goddamn, he's in that TV show that's out now, where the government underground, I forgot. Michael K. Sterling, I think that's his name, or K. Sterling something. But anyway, yes, Mark, the black man is the villain. Mark also said, yeah, Kill Bill, definitely remind me of Kill Bill, Gina laughing. So here's the thing. For obvious reasons, I understand why black men see this movie and go, here we go. Here come Mister again. Here we go. The big bad villain black man. And fear of being further pathologized, plenty of movies. But there's plenty of movies or stuff like this that are for other races. But I understand that it obviously exists. There's a lot of movies where white men are the villain to their family. They're killed. They're evil. But obviously, there's a difference when it's a black man on the screen. It's not just a movie all of a sudden. And when black men are in these forms of media, it becomes a critique of characters. It becomes a form of a way to attack. Historically, I understand. You talk about stuff like when these type of movies come out. Internet that exists now it treats these movies totally different, and these think pieces and stuff turn this from entertainment to a fact, how detrimental and negative black men are to the black community or whatever. But at the same time, it don't look bad. You said Paradise. Yeah, Paradise. Hulu season 2 on Monday. See where things are, where they're going. When I see this, there are certain things that are clearly in that, very womanist, pro-woman thing, the whole, referring to their mother as God and the certain way that they carry it that way. There's obviously a very feminist lens this movie exists in. But just in a few clips I've seen of Sterling K. Brown, I think his last name is Sterling K. Brown. I think that's his name. Is this? Let me make sure. Hold on, let me make sure. Hold on, y'all. His name is Sterling K. Brown. Yeah. We're gonna see what this movie is. We're gonna see if it seemed like a very, puddle deep movie. It doesn't seem like this super deep. It's not ocean deep. It's very simple. I feel like we know the whole plot off this 2-minute trailer. We know exactly how it's gonna go. We know the father is menacing and stoic and just evil with no emotion. We know the daughters are just innocent people who were in the middle of an attack on their mother or whatever. So it seems very simple story. We're gonna see if it's as bad as the trailer make it seem. Does his character have any? Is it just meant to be a thriller? Is it meant to be some form of a message to it, or is it just meant to be a thriller that's meant to be somewhat horrifying? I don't know. Mark said, will this work if it was in reverse? I feel like if I look, I could find a movie that's something like this. Or when you say in reverse, do you mean a movie like this where the mother tried to kill, the exact thing? I don't know who would watch it. I think this movie has an audience for obvious reasons. I don't think I need to say. I don't know if the other movie would have an audience. I don't think black men would run out to see a film that's the opposite of this. I don't even think black women would go see it either. Maybe they would, I don't know, depending on who made it and how they tried to push it. But as far as evil characters, I mean, we can look at Precious. Monique's character was the villain in that movie. So, like I said, these things exist. It's just when it's a black man on screen, it's like, oh, here we go. It's Craig said they should at least explain the father's origins and what turned him into the villain. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully, if it's puddle deep, it's gonna be bad. If it's just the dad is evil just to be evil, and I agree with those black men who are saying, oh, here we go, another character assassination, another attempt to paint us as the big bad wolf. But if it has something, just give me something, then it might not be what we think it is. Virginia said that's why I was LOL, because it looks absurd and entertaining, but I also understand the negative psyche angle. It may have some. Yeah, we'll see. I can't immediately say it looks terrible, and so we'll see. But I understand the dudes who was on it immediately saying, "Get this." The think pieces that come out from this across social media is going to be something for the ages. But I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say I hope Sterling K. Brown accepting this role means there's something more to the character. We'll see. We'll see. What we got next? This is why I can't just keep doing these episodes on Saturdays, because when some of this stuff come out in the middle of the week, I be wanting to get on it immediately. Oh shoot. We want to immediately. Hold on. I gotta talk about this here. MAGA roasted after wife horribly. So Byron Donald, another one. So Byron Donald's wife on Valentine's Day posted a picture of her and her husband, Byron Donalds, obviously. She said right here, remembering the spot where Byron Donalds asked for my number at a student union in Florida State in the fall of 1999. Our first date came, now she put date in quotation mark. The date came a few months later on Valentine's Day 2000. Thanks, babe, for making all 27 of our Valentine's days together so special. Now, this woman not stupid. Immediately, the sleuths, as they call them, on social media, looked at his finger and saw that he's married. He has a ring on already in this picture. Then they said, wait, in 1999, that's the same year that he married his first wife, the black woman. So only one or two things came out of it. There's no way this woman forgot that she was having an affair with this man three months after he got married. He has a ring on in the picture, which means you knew he was married. And it also made people look at the story that Byron Donalds told as to how he met his wife when he said he was at some convenience store, ran into some type of Christian group and fell to his knees because he just heard the Lord and decided to give himself to God and also to that white woman. I don't know how many so-called scandals can exist, because some people looking at this like, hey man, he was cheating on his wife, that's private, who cares? But to be so public with it, is it possible that the now wife wanted to do this to just let her know that she was having an affair with her husband? And what does this do to Byron Donalds' campaign or his support? Because I don't think they're too happy about him being with a white woman to start with. But now you're somebody who has a little bit of a scandal on your jacket. That support may drop even more. Will he still get that MAGA support, or will they turn on him and call him everything but a child of God? I saw them asking the question when they talk about the date. How does his wife feel about the first date? I think I actually believe it was definitely on purpose. Maybe there's some infighting in the house. Maybe, I don't know. But boy, oh boy. What else we got? So just all right. I want to just show the headline of this. I'm not going to go too into it. Savannah teacher killed and crashed by man fleeing from ICE. Craig says they're going to turn on him like they turned on Brandon Tatum. Whatever happened to Brandon Tatum? I seen somebody put up a little clip of him like 2-3 weeks ago. I didn't even bother clicking on to see what he said. Whatever happened with his relationship with Candace Owens? They was like two peas in a pod. They were working together. I think what's his name? The amazing Lucas, the YouTuber who used to be, let's be honest, he used to be a right-wing grifter. He used to work with Candace and Tatum, and he even said the reason why he stopped running around with Candace and them because he said they just wanted to lie too much, and he was just like, I can't do it, and he decided to just make it separate from that right-wing audience. Craig said he supports Israel now. Oh yeah, I talked about him like last year, the year before last, when he said he went to Israel and the little kid spit on him. You know, that was the only incident we had. A kid spit on me. Like, all right, man. I ain't heard from him in a minute. I'm gonna go check and see what his views and stuff look like, if he's still getting the support from them or not, or if they just tired of his. Cause once you defend an innocent man like Ahmaud Arbery getting shot and saying, "Hey man, he just lost," that's no further you can go. Like I think that was the peak of what he could say. It's sort of like Larry Elder saying that, you know, he would love to have Zimmerman as a neighbor. Like that's the farthest you can go, and then it's like after that, you just go down from there. Like you can never say something to top that. It's like pointless. But anyway, Savannah teacher killed and crashed by man fleeing from ICE. I seen this story in the headline from other websites. They're saying ICE agents kill black woman, and it's like, no, an illegal immigrant was running from ICE and crashed into a teacher and killed her. This was not ICE's fault. Him running was what led to this woman's death. I keep seeing them frame this as an ICE thing. I saw, what's his name, Touré? Oh, we're going to get his ass too. Touré came out and was defending the illegal immigrant, saying that it was the ICE that killed this black woman. And there's so many stories that's happening like this where these innocent people are being killed because these illegals don't want to get forced out, don't want to get sent out, and it's leading to literal deaths. You know, people ignoring it, so it is what it is. What else we got? Oh yeah. Let's get to this now. All right, here we go. Essence Fest organizers under fire over unpaid $456,000 from event. Before I even get into that, I'm just going to play a video of a woman.
Are not looking good for the 2026 Essence Festival. Let's talk about debts owed and questions being asked. So to make a long story short, Louisiana legislators are saying that the people at the Essence Festival are not paying their bills. Still outstanding bills from the 2025 Essence Festival that are still due, and people have some serious questions. Sundown Media is the company that owns Essence Festival. Sundown Media is also owned by West African businessman Richelieu Dennis. I'm going to just call him Rich for this. And they're saying that Rich's company, Sundown Media, owes the convention center, the New Orleans Convention Center, over $406,000. Now, as of last week, they actually owed the convention center $450,000, a little bit over. They did issue a $50,000 check. Therefore, the balance to the convention center is now $406,000. In addition to owing the New Orleans Convention Center, the local vendors are also saying that they are owed money too. Some local vendors, for instance, are saying that they're owed about $1 million for production costs for putting on last year's. After these type of events, you have about 30 days to settle your tab. We are way over that now, so we're going to watch and see this story to see how it progresses for the 2026 Essence Festival. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole kerfuffle that happened in 2025 with the Essence Festival, but I will say this to Rich Dennis, who recently took over the Essence Festival and managing and producing it last year. You got to pay your bills, especially since you're new and upcoming with owning and managing this event.
Okay. Now, this isn't a surprise considering what we found out about, as she called him, Rich, when we first talked about the Essence Fest last year, which is this part right here. He was accused of investor for the Harlem National Black Theater. Richard reportedly used $6.5 million for an overhaul of $1 million loan intended for the overhaul of the theater for their own soap and lotion business. So this is something that's following him. He's a scammer. He's already been accused of being a scammer. But I didn't growing up, Essence Fest wasn't something that I ever really thought about much at all. I know how popular and how big it is, but I never really thought about it. When you realize that Essence Fest was pretty much considered brought to the local economy, considered as big as the Super Bowl. I think I saw anywhere from $300 to $400 million for the local economy. Anything that generates that type of money, there's no reason for you to ever walk away with unpaid debts. Now, I know in the later years before it was purchased by someone else, it apparently was already starting to come down in how much it was making. How long can he actually own this before at some point somebody step in? I think the next one is July, somewhere early July. I think I saw July 3rd or something. How long before this is taken over? Is this a normal practice where you just take as long as possible to pay off debts? I know that it's not always the norm to just pay things all at once when you're a company or something. You take your time paying certain things. Same thing happened with they going in Jim Jones for not paying bills. But when you're talking about that level of money, paying things outright isn't always the best, isn't always the proper business way of doing things. So, but the fact that it's way over the normal time that they normally pay these things means there is some money problems. I did see somebody say, I don't know if this is true. I did see something that said that maybe the last one made like 50 million. I don't know if that's the real number. I feel like I doubt that. There's no way it went from what it was to that, or maybe that's too high. I don't know. I don't think this will be something, if it continues to go the way it's going, if this next one isn't seen as, if it's as bad as the last one, or at least if people don't want to go or whatever, and maybe that's a natural thing that was happening anyway, that the people that were going, the numbers were falling already. It wasn't like it was as popular as its peak. But if it keeps going, the worst part that can happen is he ends up just shutting it down completely. Will somebody else want to buy it, or will it be transformed into something else? I don't know. It says over 60% of operating costs are still owed. But that's what happened when you attempt to steal cultural capital. If your whole point is just to make a couple bucks, probably not gonna go far. But anyway, let's get to Touré. Let's get to Touré's ads. Let's see what Touré had to say. Touré, a little while ago, I want to say this was 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, I can't remember. There was a ICE agent. I think I posted this as a short. They referred to a black man as a house nigga. And people were like, what the hell? What's going on? These supposed to be, now the people who are protesters supposed to be these left, love everybody people. But they're referring to this black agent as nigga.
Indian
calling the N-word, but we may have found the exception. In Minneapolis recently, white ICE protester with anti-ICE protesters yelling at a black ICE Gestapo agent. An unidentified white male called the black ICE agent a house N-word who's working for the KKK. That's right, we have a white man calling a black man the N-word. But this is a little bit different. White on black usage of the N-word is a very serious issue. But this is a curveball example. Is it wrong for a white person to call a black ICE officer a house N-word? Let's explore. The white man who used the N-word in this situation was being historically precise. This black ICE agent, he is being a house N-word to the utmost degree. A black man in ICE is a modern house slave. He's a barely paid mule for white supremacy. The KKK were domestic terrorists. ICE is domestic terrorism.
And we all know this is obviously nonsense. But the level of disconnect he clearly has. Now, keep in mind, I never paid attention to Touré's background or nothing. I know he was just some hip-hop journalist or whatever he was. Now I know he does like a hip-hop podcast or whatever. I know now he's Caribbean dude. And it's always these people from these other countries. Like, I hope, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I hope Elon does update this X app so that when I do go on there, because I go on there every once in a while, I do hope they finally allow you to block these people from other countries because they're always trying to rage bait posts to get likes and views. It's just ridiculous. But what they be saying in those posts, when they critique certain things about Black America, you realize how disconnected they are because they're not a part of it. This whole spiel that he's doing right now sounds like somebody who's not Black American saying it. He's comparing the KKK to ICE. He's comparing slavery and even the Holocaust to getting rid of illegal immigrants out of America. This is the level of insanity is just over the top.
I think this is a valid usage of the N-word. He's not attacking his blackness per se. He's attacking his bootlicking choice to be in ICE while being a black man.
So is a white person that's doing bootlicking stuff a house nigga? Isn't the N-word directly tied to black people? So it is because of his race. But I'm not even gonna just go through word for word. We know he's talking BS. The reaction, though most of it was what you expect, which is this dude is a coon, whatever, call him all type of name, dismissing him, whatever. The comments were heartbreaking. How many people in these comments were actually trying to make sense of this? It's staggering. Look at this shit. This comment says, saw a post elsewhere saying the ancestors got angry and just went and possessed the nearest vessel, regardless of color. 66,000 likes. I know we shouldn't see this as what people really think, but this is crazy. He judged not the color of his skin, but the content of his character. To make sure I show this, let me make sure I show this to give full context to this. Hold on. I think I have show the video. Hold on, y'all. Do I still have it? Mark said, Touré looks like the mad scientist from the Back of the Future movie. 10,000 gigawatts. Yeah, he definitely looked like him. I don't even got the video no more. I put it up as a short with the guy calling him a house nigga. Then another one was a woman saying, you're black, you're next. They keep saying that you're next, BS. Touré is a dumbass. The level these people are going to force this alliance with these illegal immigrants, this desire to make black people part of the story, and no matter what they say to you, it's justified, and they'll have all these debates and arguments about all of it is okay, and language is different now. It's the same thing. Why am I seeing so many people on across social media, these discussions about giving people N-word pass? Like, I expect that from people like, what's his name? The Arab dude, Myron Gaines. I know this is a fake name, but people like him doing it, I know that's just him trying to get clicks, telling Alex Jones he could say the N-word. But I'm seeing it just as much on the so-called left side of politics. These people on the left, they can't stand niggas either. I feel like when you know the horseshoe theory, how the further people go politically to the left and to the right, they start to sound the same. I feel like when you're talking to these left-leaning Marxist people, the reason why most people don't F with them is because of the racism that they push out. And it seems like they think it's not racism, that it's just them being honest and blunt. I'm gonna get to it later with LeBron and how the reaction to his words at that press conference and how you had Muslims and all these people talking crazy. There's too many of these people who don't have a right to and shouldn't be trying to give N-word passes out, which is not even real. Like, what is the world coming to? This is crazy. None of this is even real. But anyway, Touré bullshitting. He's turned into this social media dude who gets online and says wild stuff. Most of his videos I've seen recently, the last couple years, really, he pop up every time he's making a video saying he hates Drake. That's what I thought his whole platform was at this point. Now he's making these dumbass political and social posts. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, I want to show this too. I'm pretty sure y'all might know a YouTube channel called Adonis Live. I've showed some of his clips where he goes to like the UK or Europe or whatever, and he talks about the Black American versus yada 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 type topics, where he talks to these Jamaican British people or African British people, and they discuss the impact of Black America or the differences or whatever, explaining to them the lineage that is the ADOS, FBA, Soline, yada 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 stuff. He got into a fight apparently while he was recording in Romania. I don't know why he was in Romania. It's very well documented how racist they are, but he decided to go there and make content, and it led to this.
Yeah, keep it moving.
Why not? Why would I?
All right,
Why would I? Why
stay like a dog.
Stay here?
This is my Romanian dog.
Give my bro.
Bugging out.
Give my bro.
Give your hands off.
Yo, you
I'll break your dog. I'm bugging. You tripping. Will, yeah.
Do it.
Get out.
That's all.
Yeah, what?
Hold on. Crazy you saw this. Hold on, let me make sure. Is this lagging, y'all? Hold on. All right, we should be good. My bad. All right. Hold on. Let me rewind it a little bit.
Fucked up.
Oh, you wanna smack me?
I will. Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Do it.
Get out my face.
That's all you're gonna do.
Yeah, what
and
you
I
do?
get the money off you.
Please, you broke. You not get my. Look ugly. What? What you wanna say?
You don't know how this fucking country works.
You know how this fucking. Back up. In my face. You bugging out. Back up.
Oh, Lord. That's the most disgusting thing. Ah, man. The reason why there's assault in this country. Like, imagine thinking you can just spit on another grown-ass man, walk away. Man, I don't know how he keep putting hands on him after this.
Bug out. Back up.
And next thing you know, buddy on the ground. My hair looking kind of crazy though, brother. Hair looking kind of crazy. Like Billy Bob.
Call the police. What?
Still face.
And that's a regular day in Romania.
Chris said, leave black people the F. Here's the thing, though. We could laugh and say he had old buddy, gay buddy night, put him to sleep. He did what he's supposed to do. He had like a rabbit. He had his rabbit as mine. NyQuil in Romania. Yeah, definitely put him to sleep. But this is dangerous. In this situation, he probably had nothing. Most people around him are some old white Romanian people. He good. But we've seen stories how they get down in certain parts of Europe, man. Especially when you look at certain people. He himself, he looks like a black dude or whatever, but I remember a few years ago there was a story of a kid from Texas who went to like Greece or something, and he got into a dispute with some dudes. I want to say they were Siberian. It wasn't Siberian. I'm tripping. He was what were they? I can't remember. He was in Greece. I forgot where the dudes were from. They were from somewhere in Eastern Europe actually, and they thought he was. Well, they didn't think nothing. He approached a woman. They hit him. They came up to him and tried to get in the way and start trouble. And he knew where it was going, so he hit one in the head with a bottle. A scuffle started. He ran out of the and they chased him, and they beat him to death. His white friends weren't there because they were still at the hotel on their way to the spot or whatever. It was a lot of weird stuff that came around with that case. When you go to these countries in Europe, when you talk about Romania, a lot of the places in Europe, Southern Europe, it ain't the safest place to be. It ain't about being scary or nothing. These people are extremely racist. They do not care about violence. They are Eastern and Europe don't Northern Europe. They kill each other for that. There's beef between those regions. So when you add race into it, antagonizing, but you got to be careful. In this situation, he good though. It was one of them, one-on-one. He put him to sleep. Night. It is what it is. I hope he's very. I hope future in these places he's very particular with where he goes, because this is probably gonna go viral in those countries too. American knocks out Romanian, and now they're gonna be watching out for you. So be careful, man. Speaking of violence and threats of violence, I gotta get to this. Hold on. TikToker says she wants to blow Negroes up. She want to blow Negroes up. Let me play this.
Happy Black History Month to everyone except the foundational Black. I hate you niggas. Let's die. Ooh. If I could gather you in one with a have a party and we're gonna blow up the spot. I'm doing society a favor. But yeah, Happy Black History Month. Even awards. I feel like they have that third week.
You ought to know when I showed he was raised. I was just like, how he wanted people to he was old. Obviously, they've been on her ass for try to find out where she live in Virginia. Is his owner. She's kind of walked back some of the rhetoric. She's I was being hyperbolic, which is obviously you don't have a damn bomb, but that level of like that, you talking crazy. Niggas was going in on her looks and stuff. I ain't even gonna do all that. I forgot where she's from, I'll be honest. I think this started from like 2 weeks ago. I don't forgot where she's from. I'll just say every time when it comes to this one political disagreement, every time I've heard violence called, it's always someone else. Y'all got to stop bringing violence into this. I'm afraid what's going to happen the first time somebody in public and they start talking about these type of politics shit, and some end up, or somebody gonna die, and that's gonna be really, really bad. Oh, she's Sierra Leone. All right. She got in trouble when they got fired from her job. As Sunday, like, you know, homeless when they were trying to find out where she. Yeah, if she got fired, that makes sense. You probably shouldn't speak for job working with. Ain't not much to say. That never mentioned how honorable. Keep saying it, man. Unfortunately, African Buddhist thing. It's fear in these people. Not much to say. She said she want to blow them up. People on her head. Dre is saying she may have gotten fired from a job. I think that's all you can really do. I said that there's a lot of people wanting her to get deported and stuff. It's like, that probably ain't happening. I want to show a little bit more disrespect. This just was a video uploaded by, we showed this before, Daily Wrap-Up Crew. Let me start by saying this. I got to be honest. I know this show. I'm not a frequent viewer, but every once in a while, one of their clips go viral and you see. And most of the time, when they have a clip go viral, it's something to do with some type of Black American versus some other group type content. And I get it. You know, they've been doing this for a minute. I think they had Dr. Umar on their pod a year or so ago. I'm hoping I hope they don't start leaning into that too much where it turns into WWE. I think the worst thing you could do is invite people on the platform to be disrespectful. Like I said, you've got multiple viral moments from content like this. So it seemed like people are just coming up there to say stuff, to be disrespectful, and it turned into WWE. Dre said, I think she got pressed by the FBI too. Oh, you talking about the Sierra Leonean woman? I wouldn't be surprised. You can't be putting. Oh yeah, somebody did try to call a bomb threat in on her. Yeah. But to this, I want to show this clip of this Haitian woman calling people dirty Black Americans. Let me play this.
I'm Haitian. Why? Where you from? What's your background? You American? Dirty Black American?
Wait, what?
Huh? What?
Wait, what'd you say?
See, that's why this seemed fake to me. This is saying fake.
American? Black American? What?
No. Hold on. You said dirty Black American.
Honorable said this show is trash, but they got to be making coin. Looks like they invested into that set. The viral moments, man. Regina says, tell us babbling away. Weirdos.
Heard that?
Now, I'm starting with this right here because I'm going to keep emphasizing. I think this is, I feel like this is just a stage situation.
I'm Haitian. Why? Where you from? What's your background? You American? Dirty Black American?
That just seems, that's not even a normal sentence you just did. Hearing her say this, it's like out of all people, hey, come on, man. Do I even got to say it? I don't even want to. A Haitian woman saying this is, come on, man. Don't make us do this. Craig said Haitians be having all the smoke for Black Americans, but none of that same smoke for the Dominican. That's what I always say. Haitian people are one of the few demographics. I just leave them alone. They go through a lot on that island. We see they're going through a lot right now. So it's not fun to joke with them because stuff gets serious quick. And although we all can like some dark humor, it can get very dark with them. But come on, man. Mark says it's fake, got that Jerry Sprinkle vibe. Who walks into a room and 16 seconds in purposely say something to offend? Like, what are we doing?
Wait, what?
Huh? What?
Wait, what'd you
American?
say?
Black American? What?
No. Hold on. You said dirty Black American.
You heard that? You just asked me what I said. I did.
Why you say that?
Because that's what y'all are. Dirty Black American. She just said that. I did. A dirty black American. I sure did. Because that's what y'all are.
So all Americans is dirty black.
This is fake.
American.
I mean, you know.
How I know it's fake, because didn't all those women giggling, who I'm assuming, maybe they're not black American. There's no way somebody say this and something get out or hands don't get thrown. I would hope. The same thing I said about these people getting called nigga on the street by white people, and then they want to pull out a phone and talking about this person just called me a nigga. Like, why are you recording anything? What are you doing?
You know, the ones I've come across.
Huh? So what is Haitians then? I'm confused.
Dirty black Haitians.
Okay, so keep that energy for everybody. Don't just keep it for us. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
You're American.
yeah, hell yeah. Don't ever say no dirty black American shit. Like, what?
You from the
Like,
South?
my family, like, yeah.
Okay, where?
Why it matter?
No, I'm just asking. No, we're not having a conversation.
It's the South, regardless. Like, I got family in Florida. I got family in Georgia.
I mean, I want to know, like, where.
You know, you trying to be. I know what you're doing. Like, I know what you're doing.
This conversation lasting too long if it's real.
It's that Caribbean shit. I know what you're doing.
Adam says it might not be staged. They're not used to us asking them what their background ethnicity is. Maybe. David says, say what now? Brave, ain't they? Bold.
What am I doing?
Just chill out on that dirty black American comment. That's all. Like,
I'm sorry. You really took offense to that. I apologize.
Anybody would take offense to that.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't.
Why you said that though?
Why you? I'm saying, why would you even fix your lips and say that, though? I'm confused.
Because that's just my experience. Like, it's my experience, so I'm gonna speak on it. But I apologize.
It's your experience?
Yeah, so I apologize.
What experience you had?
If I offended you.
You accept the apology?
No.
Yeah, like that's super disrespectful. Like,
She did say it's dirty black Haitians too, though.
Nah, she wouldn't. I would never fix my lips to say. And I know some dirty black Haitians. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would never fix my lips to say dirty black. I wouldn't generalize. Like, you know what I'm saying? So. And now it is, bro. That's that Caribbean
It's
shit.
not.
And this is why we be having the diaspora wars, because the dumb shit words. Remember that other Haitian, bro? Remember the other Haitian shorty? We don't got no culture. Like, it must be a Haitian thing for sure. Like, y'all, I don't know what the issue is.
Haitian thing, and I won't say that y'all don't have culture. Like, y'all have the things that y'all do.
We are the culture. Like,
okay, y'all have the things that y'all do. Just like
we are the culture. That's
just
it.
like, okay, so then Caribbeans are a culture too.
No, y'all have a culture. We are the culture. That's two different things. Like.
It's not.
Okay.
Enough. I ain't gonna watch the whole 4-minute thing. Like I said, it just seems staged. Like I said, they're getting their views off of those viral moments, and it seems like they're leaning into it heavier now. It's gonna turn WWE. Now, I think it's gonna now. Social media, like always, went and found her page and stuff. I think she went private or deleted her account or whatever. I don't know. It's this the rhetoric that I'm seeing. People want to blow people up and call people dirty. It ain't gonna end well. Because if y'all faking and staging shit, that don't mean everybody know that, and they're gonna see these people publicly, and now people want to do something to them. What I want to show, and people are flipping too. Let me what up, Kiefer? Let me show this. Cause now Umar said his school is finished too, y'all. Umar said the school is finished. And he's ready to move forward. Regina says, Duke, your title is perfect. We are the world's toy and a joke to them. But like you said, it ain't going to end well. Better stop while you're ahead. Yes, the title and the picture especially it reminded me of that movie with Richard Pryor. Solve everybody else's problems, but you never deal with your own. And at the end of the story, you're left with everybody saying thank you, but you're still in the same position. But Umar's flipping. He's now in support somewhat of a certain foundational movement.
So my movement to counteract the negativity of these movements we're discussing is going to be the DAFA movement. DAFA, descendants of African freedmen in America. Remember, Loom, after freedom came, we were known as what? Freedmen. That was a legal classification. We were the freedmen.
I'm sorry. Y'all know I fuck with Umar. But Honorable is right. The goofy trying to rebrand freedmen. We have affected the bag. Yeah. yeah, that ain't no bag. That Pan-African unity thing, the money is draining. I think a lot. I ain't gonna say people are just not following that belief no more. People who believe that are still believing it, but I just think that thing y'all said was just something online a few years ago, and nobody agreed with this stuff. I think it's growing faster and faster and faster. It's amazing to me. The comment by Shabuzi, how many Pan-Africans came out and was pissed. I'm like, wait, the Democrats been saying that for years. The immigrants built this country. Why are y'all mad at Shabuzi for saying it? I don't agree. People said he's so dramatic. Hey, he's a great orator. He knows how to make you care about what he's saying.
And my 3 times great-grandfather George fought in the Civil War. My 4 times great-grandfather Steve fought in the Civil War. My cousins Lewis and Charles, the sons of Frederick Douglass, fought in the Civil War. I'm a descendant of freedmen who fought to keep this country from being divided. And we have rights as freedmen, so we're fighting as descendants of African, not no American. You ain't never putting that in no title, no organization of mine. Descendants of African freedmen in America.
But American, I'm sorry, Umar, American is in the title though at the end. American is in the title. Honorable says he dropped American African. What happened to that? Yeah, we know Honorable. We know. I agree. The money is drying up. The support ain't as strong as it used to be because comments like "dirty Black Americans," comments like they want to blow people up. That's leading people to be like, "What the hell?" And you got and for the longest, these people have been using their critique of ADOS, FBA, Solon, or Friedman, saying those people are xenophobic. So when I'm speaking about these people, I'm not talking about all Black Americans, but your critiques sound very general. They're not direct enough. So you got a lot of people that's just reading some of this stuff online and reacting, and maybe that's not a good thing. Although we dismiss the idea of bots being the push for these movements, it does exist. So maybe we shouldn't react as much, obviously. I said freedman in America. Yeah, he said it's not in the name, but then he said freedman in America. That's an American freedman. It's the same thing. Honorable said these comments are only spreading the awareness of FBA. Love that for us. Yeah, it's definitely a thing that's growing faster than I thought it would. Especially, it seemed like every holiday or there's some type of cultural moment, it just explodes more and more and more. And even stuff like this. Let me show this. These people went to Africa and they wanted to discuss the slave trade with Africans, and this was their reaction.
Slavery was like.
The king of Abume.
Because the king had such a good relationship with the Europeans, did he know what European slavery was like?
The king of Abume never sold people as a slave. Those men and women travel to America to work with those Europeans, and they want to have good relationship with those Europeans. So if today we talk about slavery, it's to show the negative parts of the kingdom of Abume. But that is not right. It is wrong. So this is the fact.
Is the king saying the fact is that my ancestor was not sold into slavery?
Okay. The king said that they never sold people.
Because my ancestor, Kosolo, told his children and his children's children, and he did not go willingly. To say that Africans were not sold into slavery is not only false, but it makes it seem as though he thinks I'm foolish. I feel very much so mocked by the laughter, and that got me even more enraged to the point to where I wanted to get up and walk away.
I was stunned. Do you know we lost relatives, and for you to sit here and deny it, it was shocking to me.
I didn't want the conversation to go where it was going. I just didn't want nobody to be hurt.
Mark said, does Umar have a historical ancestor in every historical event? Anima says, this is bullshit. Did she think that a person was a 300-year-old individual? Like, why is she asking him these questions? These people are denying the slave trade happened. They saying that there was never a slave trade here, and that everybody who left and went to America did that to visit. They wanted to go to America. And then they laughed in her face. And I'm going to be honest, I feel like the only reason why they dismissed her or dismissed this whole scenario is because it was women mainly. I think it was one man and a couple women. I think if that's 10, 15 Black American men who are there sitting with them talking about this, they don't dismiss and make a joke out of this. They didn't take her serious. But it also, there's another one of the things that's leading to what they're calling an online radicalization. When you're seeing stuff like this, regardless of when it actually was recorded, this might be a video from 2007. We don't know. Or it might be 2009. Or it might be last year. People are seeing this stuff in abundance, and it's leading to people forming their opinions off of it. And that's what's leading to the growth of these Black nationalistic movements, Black American movements. But what is this here? Hold on. Oh, last one of this category. Then we got one more tab and we get up out of here. I keep seeing videos like this pop up, and it's actually sad. I said this last month, or the top of this month, should I say, how the Ice Show Speed Africa tour led to an extreme level of so many of these people are now want to depend on him to change the entire image of their country to the world. I've seen people from all over the world. Now they begging for him to come to the country. I still see a whole bunch of African countries begging him to come there. And these Pan-Africanists thought that it was going to be this bridge that's going to be made, and I think it's very naive of them. Regina says, I've run into many Africans from different countries who also state the slave trade didn't happen, or they know nothing or very little about, and they're lying. They're lying. They still have statues and worship sites where they go to these places and it's former slave traders, and they're buried in certain buildings and held in high regard. Like, culturally, these people, they're lying. I know for a fact they'll lie to you about what tribe they come from. If their tribe was a direct indirect relation to the slave trade, they'll just lie to you and tell you they're another one. They do that all the time. Mark said they still haven't accepted that they did what they did, but want to be included in being Black with us. Exactly. And not only that, I see these Pan-African people, not even Pan-African, I see these people that will believe. You're talking about the slave trade, and you say, hey man, this was a slave trade, not slave stolen type thing. This is human trafficking. They'll say stuff like, well, these tribes sold their enemies. And go, wait. And I saw somebody say this on X, and it made a good point. They were enemies, and then 500 years later, you're telling me I'm your brother and sister. It's like, wait, how'd that happen? Mark says, if it didn't happen, then why are they rumored to make a theme park? Exactly. What is the what do you call it? All these tourist destinations they have that completely surrounded by it. So I actually like this idea. Let him show the world that Haiti is safe, and TPS can be ended if it was scheduled.
We don't believe you. You need more people.
Yeah, they ain't gonna never believe that. Let me play this right quick.
Speed, he's gonna go to Haiti. He's gonna go to Haiti, and when he does go to Haiti, it's gonna be game, right? Because you know the Matrix, you know America. They gonna get in their feelings about this situation with Speed. They're already in their feelings. I've already seen it in my dreams, which he is. When he goes to Haiti, it's gonna be very powerful, and basically America is gonna change. Like the way people are gonna view Haiti and
praying right now.
Basically like the internet right now. And he's going and showing people like, hey, damn, Africa is actually like beautiful. Africa's not this bad that Western America tries to do or tries to make, right? So when he goes to Haiti, which I've seen in my dreams, it's gonna be game, right? Because now America and everybody inside of America, right, all the youth are gonna be like, oh my God, Haiti's actually beautiful. When they see the beautiful side of Haiti, right? When they see the beautiful ancestral work that people do, when they see the healing rituals that people do, to understand that they demonize Haiti more than Africa. They demonize Haiti more because the Haitian Revolution was more devastating, right? The colonizers was more dysfunctional going against them. They lost more. I show
So, like I said, it's sad how much he think the influence 1-year-old would have by just visiting the country. The only speed is terrorism. But it's not going to help the state of Haiti at all, considering the island is completely, it's supposedly still in chaos. Yeah, I don't think. What's the change that's happened in Ghana? Because they gained a lot with the old tourism point. What else did it change? The very next week, people were back saying exactly what they said before. And why are you using these curated tourist routes to help people define what the country is? That's just not realistic. But anyway, because I can't say they're relying on a Black American. If I'm not mistaken, Speed's grandfather is Jamaican, but they're relying on the influence of an American influencer. And it's, yeah, I don't get it. America is the worst, but we need that American to come to our country and change how America views us. Anyway, let me go through this right quick. The last bit we got. Hold on. All right. The backlash to LeBron James' praise of Israel is jarring but predictable. This is the Jerusalem Post. LeBron James was answering a question about Denny, the first Israeli to feature in the NBA All-Star game, when he had made a positive comments about Israel, prompting an online criticism. So NBA All-Star weekend, the first Israeli made a team. All year long, the fans have been not voting for him on purpose, calling him I think he was an IDF soldier. He constantly shows support for his country or whatever. You got a lot of the pro-Palestinian people that obviously hates him. But all throughout the weekend, they kept asking these players about this one person. He's just another player on the team, but they kept forcing all these dudes to ask a question about him to try and get support, to garner comments and try to get a rise out of somebody. They didn't really get that. Everybody just said, hey, he's just a player, whatever. But LeBron, in one of his comments, said how he's happy to inspire people in Israel to be better, yada, yada, yada. And I heard nothing but good things about him. And then he moved on. He was trying to be apolitical. He was trying to say the country, I've heard it's a good country, trying to stay out of the politics. And that didn't help at all. They was on his ass saying he was a part of the IDF. He's pro-Israel, whatever, Zionist, which, I mean, he has a rabbi, so I'm not saying that's impossible. Let me play the comments here.
To send for Israel.
If I have fans over there, I've never been there. If I have fans over there, then, I hope you've been following my career. I hope I inspire the people over there to not only want to be great in sports, but I want you to be better in general in life. So hopefully someday I can make it over there. But I've heard nothing but great things, and I appreciate the question.
So that led to a bunch of backlash, as you said. Some right, even when it cost them everything. Meanwhile, this fraud, who has will be remembered for all the wrong reasons. And throughout this punching bag he became for a couple of days, because it only lasts a couple of days. First thing I thought was, did we forget that allegedly there's emails of Epstein saying that these so-called leaders and entertainers around the world were trafficking women, children, male and female, and allegedly committing cannibalism? This is the story we want to talk about? That's not important anymore? Oh, okay. And then I saw how many Muslims were saying pretty much flat out racist stuff, calling them all type of niggas and stuff. Even though there are countries, Muslim countries, that support Israel as well. So why is this person here expected to come to Virginia said, remember how he wouldn't come out with a something on Tamir Rice, kissing it to that joint. For Israel, I'm still thinking about what he said about. I'm still talking about him getting on stage with the Clintons, supporting them. That's the real critique. I'm seeing black people call him a sellout for what he said about Israel. No. He's a sellout for what he said about what happened in America. That's the sellout. When did you become a sellout for not standing for another community? I don't get that part. Virginia says, speaking of Epstein, you going to talk about MJ being exonerated allegedly? The fact that was in the files, and I'm just being honest, it's kind of funny that that's in the files right before we get the MJ doc. I'm just saying. But yes, he does seem to be exonerated. I was going to talk about it this week. I was going to wait for next week because I want to get to the, I heard the video and stuff. I was going to talk about that particular next week. I'm going to start with just a little comment. It's kind of crazy that it seems exonerated. A movie coming in a few months. But anyway, back to this. I seen Ali. Well, the quote unquote bravest thing Muhammad Ali did was him standing against America because he wasn't fight another country, considering how they treated his America. That same another black man standing up for Muhammad Ali, everything black man, it had spoke about Palestine or nothing, but for his activism, if you want to call it that, was about black Americans. I'm not going to go fight another country for y'all when y'all don't treat my people right. Y'all treat us like second-class citizens. That was his whole point. So, yeah. Anyway, what else we got? Oh, y'all seen this right here? Another Muslim. The house Negro always looked out for his master, Malcolm X. He used a quote from Malcolm X to diss LeBron. And so people was on his ass like, who are you to call somebody a house Negro? What is wrong with y'all? White people call black people in ICE, who are ICE agents, a house Negro. Y'all allowing Muslims to call just NBA players house Negroes. It's this world is crazy. But that's what happened. Like I said, both political sides have such resentment towards black Americans. It's crazy. Because you're everybody's toy. Your job is to solve our problems, make us feel better, and then we put you on the shelf just there and wait for us to call for you again. Even Spike you, and he had a strap around him that was the color of the Palestinian. It was a Palestinian flag. And at first, he got a lot of support from people because it was LeBron. And they just started looking for, Kyrie Irving. Yeah, anyway, sorry. Kyrie Irving, Spike Lee, all these people, they started praising them. And then Spike Lee, he had the Palestinian flag thing on. And, obviously the first Israeli player is in an all-star game, so they made that a thing. And then he apologized, or somewhat apologized. He even had an Israeli woman, who apparently is his neighbor, put an Israeli flag in his mailbox. And I'm like, ain't that a crime? Like, you can't do that. But keep in mind, those same people, if you say they have dual allegiance to another country, they'll say you're anti-Semitic. So an American shows support for another country, that what he considered to be a crime against humanity or whatever, and you, in his country, put a flag of another country in his mailbox as a form of protest against your neighbor. These people crazy. But this right here, this was his quote unquote apology for the misunderstanding. He was clarifying. He said, "Respect, first Israeli-born player in the NBA All-Star Game. Congratulations also to all the players in the NBA. There has been some conjecture about what I wore to the games on Saturday and Sunday. The clothes I wore are Americans, Palestinian children, and civilians, and my utmost belief in human dignity for all humankind. What I wore was not intended as a gesture of hostility to Jewish people or to support violence against anyone, nor was it intended as a comment on the significance of Denny being an all-star. There are 28 NBA players playing in the team. And I know Denny as the first really born NBA all-star. This sounds like a damn ransom note. He can ball. Now I do know. Live and learn, onward and upward, peace and love. You dig? Show enough, Spike Lee." Now, it's not lost on me that Spike Lee has tied himself as the ultimate man, the Knicks game courtside for years, since the 80s. And it's not a surprise that the owner, or should I say, the person who runs the NBA, Silver. Why was Spike, what could possibly happen to make Spike Lee feel the need to come out and clear things up other than the who run you to clear it up? Obviously, Spike Lee isn't the face of the NBA, but definitely Knicks. So the New York Knicks, Spike Lee was forced to apologize. Allegedly kept, it's true. Allegedly, Steph Curry is invested in tech for Israel. That's true. Allegedly, LeBron James supports Israel. So 3 of your biggest fans in the NBA may be Zionists, and then the owner of the NBA is Jewish. And remember that video we showed? We show all the time, actually, of the woman saying that the most important thing for the Jewish community is the impact on the young black people. And it seemed like everybody who has some level of influence or audience for black, they're turning them into these super pro-Israel people. Their relationship has always been what that exactly is, which is using people for influence. How long we been going? Hold on. Oh yeah. All right. That was a good show. I think that's all I got for today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the show. We went through it all. People threatened to blow us up, calling us dirty Americans, Durag man offending people. Clifton Powell decided he finally learned how to love at 60. And obviously we talked about the loss. Talked about the loss of Reverend Jesse Jackson and Art Cathy. So hopefully y'all have a good week. Enjoy the show. Be sure to like it on your way out. Appreciate the support as always. Hopefully we have a little surprise for next week. We'll see. Virginia says, thanks for the show, dude. And end strong, everyone. Starting fresh on Monday. Craig, peace, family. Shout out to Honorable Kiefer. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Regina, Dre, Devin, Craig. Shout out to everybody that showed up. Appreciate the support as always. And as always, man, y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. Peace, man.
it.